Okay, we are with Andre Cantave at Same Sky Studios, and we just finished mixing. I think we're
done.
Like the last moments of mixing. Make Your Way and This Precious Love. It's been a real joy to work with him. I've worked with him in several different capacities on other people's projects.
Yes.
But not on my own stuff. And
it's been a pleasure for us.
It's been so
great,
so much fun,
right?
Man.
It's been a blast. It's been so much fun.
So I just wanted to let people who are fans of mine, since they're going to have hopefully an intimate relationship with these songs, we've already had one.
Yes, exactly. We got warm fuzzies going on.
We got them all going on. So
yeah.
I wanted them to get to know you.
Sweet.
You know, sort of the man behind the curtain.
Yes, indeed.
And tell us a little bit about your journey to audio engineering and what brought you here. How did you get here?
Well, I'm a lifelong music nerd. You know, I always kind of thought I kind of listen to records in a bit different way than other people listen to records.
Okay.
But that might just be arrogance. But also, I don't know, I used to play in bands a bunch, like a gazillion years ago, back in Boston.
Gazillion.
A gazillion, which is not a number.
And now it is.
Now it is. David had a recording studio, David Messier, who owns this place, had a recording studio, and I had a band that I brought into there, that I was a guitar player. It was a horrible punk band. It was awesome. And he and I produced that record together. And I got in the studio, and that record was done, and I never left.
Oh.
I told David I worked there now. And that was 16, 17 years ago, somewhere around there.
Wow. So moved here. And
yeah, and we moved our studio down here from Boston about 15 years ago. 14.
Here is Austin, Texas,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yes, indeed. But the sun is always out.
We are located on the east side.
Yes,
East
indeed.
2nd. It's an awesome location if you need to do something near downtown.
Yes, indeed.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So you guys moved here.
Yeah, we moved here together. We packed the entire studio and moved it all down here.
Wow, I didn't realize that y'all had
Yeah, we were
done this as a team
Oh,
effort.
yeah.
How cool is that?
Oh yeah, we had a small apartment that we lived in for like a year or two. Then we moved to a billion different places, and so actually in the past couple of years is the first time David and I have not lived together in like
That's so
10
funny.
years. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know?
well, you get to cohabitate here.
Exactly.
most
So we
of
see
the
each other
time.
every day here.
Man, that's so cool. So your role has obviously evolved. I mean, you started out in a band.
Yeah, in a band.
And then like now you're like,
Yeah.
what is your title here?
Well, I'm head engineer, and yeah, over the years it's just like I've been lucky enough to have, you know, David taught me a lot over the years. He's been engineering for years before me. I took courses with certificate courses at Berkeley, and then a great influence and a great mentor to me was this guy Paul Santo, who was head engineer for Aerosmith for a bunch of years. Produced a couple records for him, produced records for Ringo Starr and for Ozzy and all kinds of great people, you know. And he was brutal and awesome in the Massachusetts kind of way, you know, just mean in a good kind of way, you know, like makes you work harder.
In the coaching world, we call that, you know, positive feedback or constructive criticism. And, you know,
Exactly.
But without that, how are you ever going to grow?
Exactly. You know, and it made you like tough, you know.
What were your pivotal like moments where you like feel like you came into a next level of experiencing your work? Like, do you have any moments in your life where you were like, I wanted to do this, I didn't know if I could? Like, is there?
Well, I haven't had a day job in 15 years.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. Like, I haven't had to do like something else, and this was like
in my mind, that's the I have arrived and stayed.
Yeah, the 2 or 3 years prior to that, I was a social worker. I was a social worker for a bunch of years.
As a social worker.
Yeah, and so I was doing social work during the day, and then punk band and studio at night. And on the weekends when I didn't have a session, I was working with my friend delivering furniture. So I didn't sleep for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So now it's great to I work, I got like a 9 to 5 kind of job at a studio now for the past bunch of years. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I mean, it's the arc of the musical life. If you can piecemeal it together long enough and dig in somewhere, you might get lucky enough to have music be your life.
It's my eternal goal is to find a responsible way to live a fringe lifestyle. You know, it's kind
Me
of
too.
it's kind of fun. Yeah, it's like, all right, my job's weirder than most other people's jobs. You know, I get to have a beard and long hair. I don't have to worry about all the other stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I like to mow my lawn. I'm a tax-paying middle-aged guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the same way. So it's fun that way. It's got homeostasis, you know?
So
if you will.
So what's next? Like, is there a next, like, that is this the goal? Just to like keep rolling, or do we have like some, like, is there like some kind of project or some artist or some, like, is there just like another like thing that you would say that will tick off the next thing for me, or are you just cool with like just rolling with what comes?
It's that's a tough question.
Okay.
But it's like a lot of it ends up being like when you're talking about like when you felt like the next step was.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a lot of next steps.
Okay.
For me, it feels like you do this mix and you're like, oh my god, this is the best mix I ever did, and that puts you in this next echelon.
Yeah.
But then once you realize you're there, it's like, oh, I'm at the bottom of that echelon.
Ah.
The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know shit, you know? For a lack of a better term, part of my language. You know? So then it's like, okay, then I've got realize I have a lot more work to do now. And then you do that, and you get that next spot. And like, okay, I've got a lot more work to do. Like, anytime I listen to a mix that's a year or two old,
Right.
I listen to it, and if I'm not like, oh my god, that's horrible, then I'm angry at myself, because it should be exponentially always improving. You
Yeah,
know? Anytime
sure.
you're not improving, you know, if you're not getting better, then you're getting worse. I think, you know.
I'm a big fan of growth. So
Yeah.
you don't have to sell me on that.
Yeah.
I'm always about, let's try something new. So speaking of trying something new, we did something new to both of us. I think on these songs we kind of like found a soundscape that we wanted to play in. So is there anything about either or both of these tracks that affected you in some way? I'm putting you on the spot.
Absolutely. No, not at all. No, absolutely, because with some of the references you gave me and us discussing these songs in the mixing process, it was definitely, and it's always that kind of thing of like, you can do things right, and if you're doing a Steal It In record, you know, hey, you know, you want to do it right, you want to be very precise, but then like, it's some ways to do things wrong that are more right, if that makes any sense at all. You
want
know?
to give an example? Like can I start?
Yes, please.
Like he had, unbeknownst to me, he did two different mixes of both songs. One playing it right, safe,
a little more conservative,
inside the wheelhouse of this is the proper way of doing the thing, and then he did this sort of all the way over to the other side, using all the vibes that I put on my reference track, and he said, well, here's the overdone version and here's the very clean version, and like, so.
And that's always a fun thing of like, it's one of my favorite quotes ever is by Pablo Picasso, who was a dirtbag of a person but an amazing artist. He said, learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. And that's really cool. Of like, you do all the right things, and you throw it out the window, and then you try, and then you swing away.
Yeah.
Just try something. And nowadays, I mean, we're not, in general, you know, don't tell anybody, but we're not going to tape right now. You know?
We're certainly not going to tape.
So we can change stuff. So it's like, why not try it, and why not experiment and try some stuff?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know what that means, but back in the olden days, up to the late 90s, the way that we in our world recorded was on tape.
Yes, on tape.
Either 1 inch or 2 inch tape for the most part.
Yeah.
16 tracks or 24 tracks. And that's all you could work with. You could comp things, like all the drums, we're happy with the drums, all the drums go on one. You can add some other things, but everything that you listen to before like 1995 is basically done on tape.
Yeah.
And then everything after 98 sometimes is a hybrid and onward. So we are doing a fully digital thing. We can take more risks, do different mixes.
Yes, exactly.
And when you do tape, you also do like live mixing to a smaller tape.
Yes, so you're committing to a lot of things that like are
there it is.
Pain to change, you know?
Exactly.
In our studio, we're kind of a hybrid studio. We're analog until we get to Pro Tools.
Yeah.
You know, all analog stuff, all fancy gear, until you get to Pro Tools. But then you can do things. Editing, what used to take me, 15 years ago, what used to take me, I don't know, a day to do, takes me about an hour now.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's come a long way. When
Yeah.
I started in '97, the first half of my first record was on only tape, and then we did the second half, but it was '97. I mean, digital was like just a baby. It was just in its baby phases.
It wasn't that great, you know?
It wasn't, and so we ended up like kind of cheating the blend of the two, and then I did 2 other records just solely on tape for just like the joy of sort of like producing with this limited budget of tracks, because that was just for my brain and collaboration. That was cool. But the last few records I've done digitally, and it's great. Like I love that we live in a time where we may not have any return on investment like worked into the industry, but we certainly have a lot of creative license with how we do almost everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But still, I try to keep a lot of that mentality of tape with me, of like,
That's cool.
you're gonna make decisions.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's good writing and good art makes choices.
Yeah.
So you got to make choices, and you try to bake as much in as you can. Later on, you can do some changes, and you can do a lot of different stuff in post, but leaving things to post is never a good idea.
Oh my gosh.
You want to make decisions.
It's
you know,
a headache. It's
be
a headache.
bold. Be bold, and powerful forces will come to your aid. You know, like that's always fun.
I'm in firm agreement with that. So, are there any like is there anything you want to say about either of these tunes or anything before we?
They are. It was funny because you gave me a lot of references, and I gravitated to a couple specifically. But those couple also reminded me of things that I've been listening to for years. Things like Calexico or Caliphone or I don't know, Iron and Wine, stuff like that. Of like that kind of folk turned on its ear.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like folk music, but it also has this trippy otherworldliness to it. Even like, you know, some degree of, I don't know, Radiohead, or some degree of like Wilco when Wilco first got weird, like Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, of like adding these different elements of organic and inorganic, blending them together and making that work. That's always fun. It's a fun world. Beck does that great as well.
Big Beck does do a good job of that. Yeah, it's like what I think we were setting out to create, and you can be the judge of whether we succeeded or not, is just like taking these really intimate folk songs with this very classically, you know, created string affect, you know, like this beautiful, and then kind of like you said, turning it on its ear and creating like almost like a cinematic dreamscape inside the experience. And one of them is like a little R&B, and the other one is just like this river of rolling deliciousness. I like it.
Yeah, I had a blast doing this. By the way, it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this project.
Thank you.
Andre, we're having a blast, and making music is so good. So thank you guys for tuning in and supporting us in however way you do. We just love you, and we're so grateful.
Thanks.